before we let you go, we want to try one brand new game.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. We're going to give you a Premier League player and tell you how many appearances they made in the Premier League era. We're going to give you another player, and you will tell us if that player has made more or less appearances in a higher or lower format. Now, the first player is Brian Dean. You'll be playing head-to-head, so we need to decide who's going to go first. Do you want to play by guessing how many games Brian Dean made in the Premier League?
195.
195. James, what's your guess?
I was going to say like 126.
It's 293.
Wow.
So, Marv, would you like to go first or second?
I'll go second.
293.
Okay.
The next player is Dean Saunders. Higher or lower?
Just Premier League?
Yeah.
Lower.
Correct. Dean Saunders is just 196. Very well played. Dean Windass. Higher or lower?
Lower.
Correct. 104 appearances for
But
Dean
that's
Windass.
still loads for Dean Windass, isn't it?
It's about 4 seasons, isn't it? 104.
Which is coincidentally his favourite pizza.
Nigel Winterburn, higher or lower?
Oh, higher.
Correct. 352 appearances for Nigel Winterburn. Is that higher or lower than Lee Dixon?
Ooh, I think Dixon played for longer, so I'm going to say Dixon is higher than Winterburn.
That is incorrect. It is
lower.
You're looking good there, James. So it's over to Marv. Lee Dixon made 305 appearances in the Premier League in total. But is that higher or lower than Lee Carsley?
I think it must be higher.
Tenacious midfielder Lee Carsley.
Oh, hang on. He played a long time. He wasn't a player who got injured that often, but I still think higher.
You're going higher.
No, sorry. Carsley's lower. Carsley's lower.
James, just 282 appearances.
That's not fair. He meant lower.
No, I meant lower. I meant Dixon was higher.
You just clarify that before the answer came in there. There was a slight delay, but you were saying that Lee Carsley was lower with 282.
Yeah,
so
I was using the wrong phraseology while I was talking it through in my own head, which is obviously disastrous when you're playing play your apps right. I'm like the guy who puts his hand up to go to the toilet at an auction. I meant lower than Dixon.
The next player on the board is Thomas Gravison, higher or lower than Lee Carsley?
Lower.
Lower with 149 appearances. The next player is Thomas Sorensen.
Higher.
Higher with 364 appearances.
Oh my God. This thing, you think about these names, you think they're so fleeting, but he had 364 Premier League appearances.
He played for Villa for ages.
And what is it, Villa and Sunderland?
How did he get on against his Danish compatriot Peter Schmeichel, higher or lower than Thomas Sorensen's 364 appearances?
So Schmeichel is lower.
You're going to say Schmeichel is lower. He is lower. What happens when we switch to Kasper Schmeichel at the end of the 30th Premier League season? Is Kasper Schmeichel higher or lower than 310 appearances of his dad?
He's higher.
He's just lower, 284 appearances, and we switch back over to James. James,
I would have said that as well.
You start with Kasper Schmeichel with 284 appearances. Next up is Stephen Carr.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I love how you both came into this so casually, and now the competition is really kicking in.
Because it could be either. What if it's exactly the same? Then what happens?
It's definitely either, James.
All right. Stephen Carr. He did play for a while. He was Spurs, wasn't he? Spurs fullback.
Yeah.
And he sounds like someone making up a name when he's been pulled over. Isn't it? What's your name, sir? Stephen Carr. Oh, really? I'm going to say, fuck it, higher.
It is higher, 377 appearances. So we move on to Jamie Carragher.
You'd think it would be higher.
Is that what you're going with?
I'd say higher.
Yeah, higher, go on.
508 appearances. We are 7 from the end here. Phil Neville. This is a lot. Phil Neville are higher or lower than Jamie Carragher's 508 appearances?
Lower.
It is lower, 505 appearances. But how's Phil getting on against his brother Gary? Is Gary
Lower.
Neville? Gary Neville is
No,
lower.
no, Phil is lower. What?
Oh!
What? Oh, that was too confusing. I don't know what happened there.
You went Phil is
I
lower.
got it right, didn't I? What?
So
you said, how is
Phil
Phil compared to his brother? And I said lower.
Phil
But
is
it turns
lower.
out that's wrong, isn't it?
Gary Neville is lower, which gives Marv control of the board. We've got Gary Neville's 400 appearances. How does that rank against Roy Keane?
Roy Keane is lower.
Roy Keane is lower, 306. How does that rank against Robbie Keane?
Robbie Keane is higher.
Robbie Keane is higher with 349 appearances. How does that rank against Niall Quinn?
Niall Quinn is lower.
Niall Quinn is lower, 250 appearances. But how
One
does
of the
that...
few occasions where Niall Quinn is lower than anyone.
Well, it's funny you should say that because the next player on the list, 3 from the end, is his strike partner, Kevin Phillips. So is Kevin Phillips higher or lower than Niall Quinn?
What was Niall Quinn again? How many
Niall Quinn
appearances?
was 250 appearances.
Kevin Phillips is higher than Niall
Kevin
Quinn.
Phillips, ironically, is higher than Niall Quinn with 263 appearances. You're 2 from the end. Kevin Phillips versus Ian Wright. Is Ian Wright higher or lower than Kevin Phillips's 263 appearances?
Ian Wright is higher.
Ian Wright is lower.
Oh, right at the end.
With 213 appearances, which means, as the decider, James, if this is right, you win. If you get it wrong, Marv takes the win. Ian Wright, 213 appearances. But how does that rank against Mark Wright?
I would say Mark Wright is lower.
Mark Wright is lower, 137 appearances. James takes the win. Well done, boys. That was surprisingly tense.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just do that for 2.5 hours. People would listen to it.
Thanks for listening to When Football Began Again. Join us again next time for another slice of Premier League nostalgia. In the meantime, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, find us on socials, and spread the word with all your Premier League loving mates.